This upcoming week is definitely by far the biggest week upcoming since at least Vanguard's launch, and before that, probably the biggest week we've seen within at least the last year. Season 1 is coming up and bringing a ton of content here with it, but more specifically for the Warzone side of things, an entire new experience. Basically, everything that you can think of with Warzone has at least some change here coming to it. So today, we're breaking down the 26 things that you need to know leading up to the launch of Warzone Pacific, Caldera, and everything that comes along with Season 1. So that said, as we go along, let me know your thoughts down below. Are you guys looking forward to anything in particular with Season 1, whether it be Vanguard, whether it be Warzone, a brand new map, new weapons, whatever the case, drop your thoughts down below. But if you enjoy the video, do me a favor, drop a like on the video, and of course, if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Warzone, all things Vanguard, anything Season 1. We'll keep you up to date with absolutely everything you need to know. So if you're part of that nearly 70% of viewers that are not subscribed, if you'd like to help us out on that road to 500,000 subscribers and stay in the loop with absolutely everything, I'd love to have you in the community. That said, let's talk about these 26 things that you need to know. So with so much up on deck, let's start out chronologically. What starts the very beginning of all of this coming with this week and the Season 1 launch, Caldera's launch? Firstly, it's going to start with an event and then the downtime leading to Season 1. The Last Hours of Verdansk event starts tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Right now, it's not necessarily known or detailed just yet if it's going to be consolidating every single playlist into one lone Last Hours of Verdansk event playlist, like we saw with the destruction of Verdansk back with Season 3 of this past year with Black Ops Cold War, or if it's going to be there like sort of Operation Flashback is, where everything else is playable at the same time. But regardless, the Last Hours of Verdansk event will be live tomorrow, kicking off the sort of finale here for the last year and 8 to 9 months that we got to play within Verdansk. Now, after that, that's where things get a little bit interesting, because we'll see a server shutdown that seems to only affect Verdansk related modes, because Rebirth, as we'll touch on in a little bit, will still remain enabled for those that want to play Warzone going through the downtime and into the Season 1 launch. Now, that downtime for Verdansk related modes, where Rebirth is only going to be live, is stated on the Warzone Trello board as being the 7th leading into the 8th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So from 9 p.m. Pacific on the 7th, midnight Eastern, to 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern on the 8th, that's when Verdansk will be sort of taken out of the rotation here, it seems like. But then after that, Caldera and Warzone Pacific start early access at 9 a.m. Pacific time on Wednesday the 8th. So that said, early access is a 24-hour exclusive window for Vanguard owners, whereas the free-to-play users will have access to everything with Warzone Pacific and Caldera starting on the 9th. Now, to gain your 24-hour early access, you need to own and have played at least one singular match of Vanguard. Seems pretty simple, but to ensure that you get that full 24 hours of early access, you'll need to have that one match logged on your account. If you've already done that, no worries at all. If you haven't, make sure you just jump on and play, again, just a simple TDM or something like that. Now, additionally, one of the big things here coming with the Warzone Pacific experience comes down to something that isn't necessarily so much revolving around one particular map, so much as it is the entire experience of Warzone. That being the brand new Ricochet anti-cheat update that will be required here for PC players. This will be a kernel-level driver developed internally by the Call of Duty teams to help identify and hopefully, if working as intended, will for the first time prevent cheaters proactively instead of just being reactionary ban waves that we've seen in the past that have happened. That's what, honestly, outside of just the new map, I'm probably the most excited for in regards to an anti-cheat, is the fact that it's a preventative measure and a means to stop players instead of just saying, hey, we banned these accounts, but by the time that announcement was made, tweeted out, replacement accounts were already created by those same cheaters. So this hopefully should be something that stops that from happening again, but this update will be required for all PC players as of the update. What is curious is that the kernel level driver for Vanguard is mentioned as coming at a later date, so while Vanguard already has server-side implementation of Ricochet, adding a bit more protection to the game as opposed to the years in the past, the kernel level driver will not be available just yet, so it is possible that on occasion you'll encounter those rogue cheaters. Now, as for the application itself, starting at a sort of fundamental level of Warzone in Season 1, it will be sharing the Vanguard engine apparently, though practically speaking, there seems to be minimal change in most fundamental areas. It will still feel like Warzone for Modern Warfare, perhaps just slightly different. If it truly does share the same mechanics as Vanguard, things like slide canceling will just be one movement step different among others as opposed to what we saw in Modern Warfare. But rightfully, a huge question mark that we still don't have an answer to is, will there be an FOV slider for consoles finally within Warzone? Vanguard has it for consoles, so by extension, logically it would make sense that we see that, correct? However, we have zero information on that just yet as the time of recording this video. As of tomorrow, we're likely going to get a full detailing and explanation of a lot of the content coming with Season 1, so I would not be surprised if we get that answered here in the next 24 hours. Additionally, fundamentally speaking, in that sense, we also saw that teased were some Vanguard perks, which also could alter some of how we end up seeing some of the base fundamentals of Create a Class altered as well. But for Season 1, what can you expect with the new Warzone experience in terms of gameplay, features, and all that kind of stuff? Well, firstly, the brand new map of Caldera is coming. That means that we're going to be seeing, of course, an entire new locale, new points of interest, new lighting, which is phenomenal here, and maybe even some Easter eggs. Call of Duty already detailed a lot of the points of interest here with this. We've already seen the sort of TAC map already detailed in regards to the coming map of Caldera. We'll see locations like Arsenal, Docks, Runway, Ruins, Mines, Peak, Beachhead, Village, Lagoon, Airfield, Fields, Subpen, Power Plant, Capital, and Resort, along with a ton of other smaller points of interest mixed in with all of that. Sizing and scale, the map should be comparable to Verdansk, so it's not going to be something that is a little bit smaller or too much larger. It should be on the same relative pacing here with this. Easter eggs, I'm excited to see what this new map may hold. Very much so. I love Easter eggs here with this, and with so much of an open world, there's plenty of room for them. And also the lighting looking like Rebirth Island, that's an absolute win in my book as well. Now, also with this Warzone Pacific experience, it's changing a lot of the fundamentals of the game, which will also affect things like Rebirth Island here in the future whenever they come back. But all of these are going to be changing in some way, shape, or form. The Gulag, dead silence, stopping power, stun grenades, heartbeat sensors, loadout drops, gas masks, interaction with water, contracts and events, and even much more. The Gulag will be functioning just like it does in Iron Trials, where what you return with is entirely dependent on what you have left over from the Gulag weaponry that you're given. So your weapon and primary and that equipment you have on offer stays with you even after the Gulag. So if you're efficient, you'll be somewhat kitted out going back into the fight, but if you're playing with your food and you waste a ton of ammo on your equipment, you'll be lesser equipped here for the battlegrounds of Caldera when you return. Dead silence, while it's not entirely detailed in specific manners, it is mentioned to be being nerfed. Stopping power rounds, entirely gone, which I think is great. Stun grenades, mentioned to be toned down and nerfed as well. Heartbeat sensors, also with no specifics, have been mentioned to be nerfed also, so maybe something like a longer duration between pings. We'll have to wait and see. Melee weapons have slight nerfs to them so that they're not over the top and super spammy like Cali sticks were. Loadout drop markers cannot be purchased until after the loadout event, the first of which in regular BR happens around that 15-second mark of the initial zone's closure, so from then on in the match you'll be able to purchase those at the buy stations, but until then, it's whatever you find on the ground. So loot up and survive. Gas masks will have less intrusive mechanics from what were detailed. New explosive canisters are going to be introduced, which I still heavily think was what we saw for a few days in Verdansk back in Modern Warfare Season 4 or 5, but then never saw again. Players now will be able to wade and crouch in water with the ability to even scramble tracker footsteps while going through it, which I think is really cool. And also, in terms of interaction with water, you'll be able to throw Molotovs, thermites, or anything flame-based, and it will create a smoke screen. So while you can't swim, you can do some cool things here with this, and of course, the water is no longer off-limits in the boundaries of Caldera. Contracts and public events are going to be refined here with new introductions of contracts like the Big Game Bounty, which targets players with the highest kills in the lobby, but only once per game. A new top secret contract will be introduced, which details reveal themselves to players when activated. New events in the games like Restocks and Resurgence from Rebirth will be making their way into traditional Battle Royale and Caldera here. Cash drops and weapon crate drops will also be happening as well. So a lot of cool stuff in terms of even just overall fundamentals of Battle Royale and overall Warzone. The Season 1 integration from Vanguard will also be happening here, which will bring all 40 weapons at the time, the current 38 that we have right now, plus the 2 upcoming in the Battle Pass with the initial launch of Season 1. Those will be made available along with all the operators for Vanguard. The new 10 attachment system looks to be coming from Vanguard's MP for Vanguard weaponry, as evidenced by the fact that we already have existing blueprints leading upwards of 10 attachments. All your calling cards, emblems, and all will be introduced into Warzone as well. And right now, I'd imagine things like your operator ranks are going to be introduced in Warzone in some capacity also, but that's unconfirmed. It may be weird to consider that we can't progress other existing operators from Modern Warfare and Cold War, but in the same mannerisms, you also can't use 10 attachments on things like your Modern Warfare weaponry. So that stuff will be coming as well, a part of the integration. And that said, though, talking about weapons, can your older weaponry still be used? Simply put, yes. One thing that is really stressed upon in these sort of lead-up blogs that we've seen is that Vanguard Royale limited time mode, but it's not highlighted all too well, and so therefore the information may seem like it's the mainstream game that is changing up here. But in the section for Vanguard Royale, it's detailed that you'll only be able to use Vanguard weaponry in Warzone Pacific. But again, coming down to it, it's not labeled or highlighted in bold text or anything like that, so it's an easily missable statement that the mode only requiring Vanguard weapons is only Vanguard Royale. It's only limited to that limited time mode. Traditional Battle Royale and all on the Pacific map will still allow you to use your weaponry from the last 2 years as well as your Vanguard weaponry. Now, talking LTMs and game modes to expect, what kind of game modes can we see here with Warzone with the Pacific update? We'll touch on Rebirth as a whole in just a few moments, but outside of that, we'll see traditional Battle Royale and Vanguard Royale leading the charge at the start of the season. The differences in the two come down to a few things. Where Vanguard Royale, there's new vehicles and dogfighting, that new flying mechanic that allows you to take to the sky, though the way that it's worded right now seems like it's only in Vanguard Royale. So if you're not a fan, don't worry too much here with that. Vanguard weaponry will be found in both, but Vanguard Royale will only see you using Vanguard weaponry, whereas the whole host of the weapons on offer is available in traditional Battle Royale. In Vanguard Royale, the circle collapse and in-game events are different, where the circle has a different radii and also the times that it takes to close in are different, setting the pacing a little bit differently as opposed to traditional Battle Royale. Events like the bombing run will be active as well, something that if they magnetize towards me like they do in Vanguard's MP, I'm not going to be too happy about that. Notably absent, though, just at the start here is Plunder, assuming nothing changes. With so much focus on the brand new map, it is kind of odd to me that we don't see this projected in the initial lineup for Warzone Pacific, but we do see that shortly thereafter, my guess probably like within week 2 or something, that Plunder will be returning in the near future. But what happens to Rebirth Island? Because that is a great question. And initially, Rebirth Island here is kind of on a little bit of a roller coaster. Rebirth Island will be the only game modes available for the downtime that we see between the Last Hours of Verdansk event and the early access of Caldera. Plus, for those free-to-play users that won't have access to Caldera until the 9th, that's another additional 24 hours where Rebirth will be the only thing available on offer, where both Resurgence and Mini Royales will be available for those 24 to 37 hours, depending on if you have early access or not. However, upon the initial free-to-play launch of Caldera on the 9th, that's when Rebirth Island will be temporarily going away, and it won't be playable in any capacity for anyone for just a little while, pending no major changes to the schedule and rollout of things. This is stated to be coming back in season, though, again, same with Plunder, I can't imagine they keep it off the plate of offerings too long because Rebirth's player base is definitely a larger one, so I wouldn't get too worried just yet if you are a fan of all of this. But that said, that is the next couple of days here and everything that you really need to know leading up to the launch here of Caldera and what you can expect both before and afterwards. So that said, that's where we're going to wrap the video up. I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. Are you guys looking forward to Caldera, a brand new map here within Warzone? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts. But if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, drop a like on the video. And of course, if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Vanguard, Warzone, anything Season 1 related, we get you covered here on the channel. So if you're interested, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. That said, thanks so much for watching. My name has been Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.